Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have the Mudita Kompakt and the Light Phone 3. I'm really excited about this comparison, but I want to say that you cannot go wrong with either of the devices. It just depends on your preferences and what you're looking for to get out of the device. But having said that, we're going to go over 7 categories and we're going to see which one wins, quote unquote. The first category is the hardware of the device. I'm going to give this one to the Light Phone 3. It does not only use more metal or premium materials, but it does also have access to the battery for easy replacement. This will be helpful in the future, especially if something were to happen to your device or if the battery starts malfunctioning, you'll be able to replace it easily. Whereas on the Mudita Kompakt, you have to go through the warranty, and although it is a great warranty, it's a very good warranty, you have to go through them, send it, ship it, get it repaired, and bring it back to the United States or whichever country you live in. You cannot repair at home, which is a little bit of a bummer. But I do want to mention that this device is very good in terms of hardware. It feels good in the hand. However, the win goes to the Light Phone 3. Now, the next category that we're going to go over is music management or entertainment management. The reality here is that it just depends on your preference. So the Light Phone 3 and the Mudita Kompakt, as of right now, have similar functionality, but they get there a little bit differently. They have a list of songs that you can sideload via a computer. On the Light Phone 3, you have to use the dashboard, whereas on the Mudita Kompakt, you connect it to whatever computer via USB and you get your music there. There is no extra album or playlist functionality as of right now on both devices, but both companies have decided to implement this in the near future, and there will be feature parity in the upcoming updates. So for music or audio entertainment on the Light Phone 3, you also have podcasts that sync automatically with the device. On the Mudita, you do not have podcasts, but you do have ebooks. So you can read the different things that you load. This is all offline. So reading right now, you can do it on an ebook. You can put it easily on the Mudita Kompakt and you can get back with your life. So if you prefer to do things via sync and have that extra layer of, oh, I want my podcast and I'm going to be able to sync them back and forth, then the Light Phone 3 is a little bit better. So when it comes to entertainment management, the win goes to the Light Phone 3, just because you have that extra layer of you have music, you have podcasts, and you can sync them. Whereas on the Mudita Kompakt, it's all done offline. That is a good thing, in my opinion, but some people prefer that sync, and that is something that you need to weigh. So 2-0 for the Light Phone 3 so far, but the next category is definitely going to the Mudita, and that is battery life. This is a very important category, and battery life on the Mudita Kompakt is excellent. It is double, I would say, depending on your usage, of what you will get on the Light Phone 3. So the Light Phone 3, you will get somewhere around 2 to 3 days, depending on how you use it. But on the Mudita Kompakt, you will get 4 to 5 days if you use some of these utilities. And if you use it minimally, you can push it all the way to a week. It also depends on what you sideload on this device and the extensibility, which is our next category that is going to be coming right now. But as of right now, the Mudita comes back on the board and gets a point for battery life. The next category is extensibility or apps. So by default, both devices are pretty much on par. They both have calendars. The one calendar on the Mudita Kompakt is fully offline, so it doesn't sync with other calendars like Google or Apple or even CalDAV. On the Light Phone 3, you do have that possibility. And then you have other utilities like the calculator, an alarm. They're both basic. They're on par. So none of them are better than the other. But the Mudita Kompakt takes the advantage if you're going into sideload mode. So because this device is running Android 14 and it does not hide the functionality under different layers like the Light Phone 3 does, you can sideload applications and you can not only match the features of the Light Phone 3, but you can get functionalities that go further than the Light Phone 3. Now, this is by default. If you hack both, you can technically uncover all of the layers of Android 14 and install whatever you want. So you will be going back to smartphone territory. And that's not what we're doing here. But it's something to consider when you're buying the Mudita Kompakt. This is a de-Googled phone and you're able to have some of those smarter applications and be able to sideload them easily, something like WhatsApp, or maybe it is Slack, something that is important to you and that's going to make your life a little bit more frictionless. It depends on your work, it depends on your lifestyle, it depends on what it is that you want to do with the device. So, in this performance category, the apps and extra functionality, this goes to the Mudita Kompakt. Our next one is very important, which is messaging and communication. And this one is something that, again, the Mudita Kompakt takes the win. Not necessarily because it has better messaging or RCS, because it does not have that, but you can, again, sideload WhatsApp, so you have more availability for online messengers as of right now. Light has said that they're going to try to release something along these lines for internet messaging, which would make the experience way easier and available to other people. But by default, there is a layer of customization in the keyboard that is better on the Mudita Kompakt. The Light Phone 3 does have the QWERTY, AZERTY, and a few of those extra layouts, but on the Mudita Kompakt, you have extra languages as well. So whereas the Light Phone 3, you do have a few extra letters, the Mudita Kompakt allows you to have that full keyboard for your specific language, specifically right to left languages like Hebrew or Arabic, which allows more users to actually have this device for communications. And I think that's important when you're taking this into consideration. So the Mudita is back on the board again. There are some extra features like voice to text. This one is limited to English on the Light Phone 3. The Mudita does not have it by default, but you can sideload a different keyword and also have voice to text. There is one saving grace for the Light Phone, and that is the speaker is extremely loud compared to the Mudita Kompakt. So if you prefer calls and you're not texting a lot, you're calling a lot, the performance on the Light Phone 3 is better. But for the purposes of this comparison, I'm going to give the win to the Mudita Kompakt. The next category is something that is very useful, and that is the directory or the directions tool. By default, the problem with the Mudita Kompakt is that it uses a database that is using OpenStreetMaps, whereas the database on the Light Phone 3 is on Google Maps. So the quality of results by default on the Light Phone 3 is better than on the Mudita Kompakt. And the quality of navigation is also much better because the Mudita Kompakt is using an e-ink screen. And even though you have the maps and you can use them offline, you do not have turn-by-turn navigation on the original application that the Mudita Kompakt does come with. You can sideload something like Organic Maps, which is one of my favorite apps when it comes to navigation and offline navigation, but you're still relying on OpenStreet database instead of the Google Maps database, and that gives you worse results or not up-to-date results. So in this specific example, I'm going to give the edge to the Light Phone 3, because it is easier to navigate, and the directory tool with the directions tool is kind of a superpower for minimal phones. So this essentially ties it up, and we're going to use the last category as the camera. This is, again, another subjective area. A lot of you may use the camera for different reasons. I don't use the camera at all, so this is not truly important to me. If you were to leave it right here at a tie, I would be happy. But I know some of you use the camera a lot. And in this case, the Mudita Kompakt does take the loss, and the Light Phone 3 takes the win 4-3 because of the experience and also the quality of the pictures. So as you're seeing right here, the Mudita Kompakt uses e-ink. So when you're taking a picture, even though the picture may come out great, you really don't know what's going to happen, and it's a little bit shakier than I would prefer. The sensor is good, but the quality of the picture is better on the Light Phone 3, and it's also better for the experience. So when it comes to taking a picture, the Light Phone 3 does have the OLED, so you can really look into what you're taking a picture. Whereas on the Mudita Kompakt is a little bit more like, okay, what's happening here? Is this actually going to happen? And again, this is subjective, so take it with a grain of salt. This is just my personal preference. And also I'm just evaluating the kind of performance of the camera as is. But I'm going to remind you here that both devices are great. And it just depends more on your personal preferences and what you need to make it work each and every day. So if you need more apps, if you need better abilities to sideload, I think that the Mudita Kompakt is going to be an amazing option with superb battery life, a lot of functionality. If you're just looking for something simple and not have the availability of apps and notifications pinging you at all, not even have the ability to sideload some things, Light OS and the Light Phone 3 will be better for you. I'm going to keep the Light Phone 3 because it just matches my lifestyle better. And that is just one of the few reasons that I prefer it. But I think the Mudita Kompakt is going to make a lot of people happy. And as they continue to improve it, I will also bring you that information. Same thing with the Light Phone 3. As they continue to improve it, I will also make videos on it. So I hope you enjoyed the comparison. If you want me to compare something in specific or you have extra questions about any of these devices, let me know in the comments and I'll be interacting with you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.